Hello friends, hot news time. You're welcome for me being around. I like it when you watch our stuff. Anyways, before we get into the hot news, let's talk about today's video sponsor, which is UFD Deals. In case you're checking out try to buy computer products on the internet, you go to our website, we find the hottest deals on different tech products, put them all on that website, you click the link, you get taken to a magical land of money saving, I get taken to a magical land of money making. It's a win-win. Anyways, check it out, the link in the video description, ufd.tech is the website. You can check that out down below. But you know what you also can check out in October, my friends, is Intel's next lineup of CPUs. Yes, Intel is finally launching new CPUs. When Coffee Lake Refresh was around for a while, well, they're gonna be launching Cascade Lake. And one of the big things that they're promising with Cascade Lake for the high-end desktop is that it's gonna offer 2 times the performance of previous Skylake X architecture high-end desktop CPUs. So your 7980XEs, your 9980XEs, those varieties, the Cascade Lake X should provide you twice the value. That's fantastic. They don't explicitly say the price, but they do say it should be up to 18 cores. And in their chart, they actually at least do give AMD a little bit of credit, showing that they are a better value than the Skylake X architecture, with the Threadripper 2950X being 1.6 times what Skylake X was. And then that's nowhere near what Cascade Lake X is gonna be. But obviously it doesn't include Threadripper 3000 or the 3rd generation of Threadripper. However, the thing with that is that AMD's kind of not really letting on when that's going to be releasing. Lisa Su seems to indicate, at least based on our conversation in some interviews, in that it will be announced this year, but it will release next year. That's the general structure that I've gotten from her comments. So if Cascade Lake actually does indeed launch next month, they can still hold out the high-end desktop segment until Threadripper 3000 launches with Zen 2, with the IPC improvements, potentially with higher core count, they could take over with that. But Intel, twice as good, twice as valuable. And then on top of that, they also are going to be launching the 9900KS. Yes, my friends, Coffee Lake Refresh is all we're getting this year from Intel on the desktop segment. Nothing to compete with Ryzen 3000 at all, besides the 9900K, but all cores are now 5 gigahertz, which my 9900K can do anyways if I overclock. And really, it's not that hard. Like, I could teach my son to just enter the 50 button, and then that's the multiplier, and then it's 5. Like, it's a simple process on a Z370 or Z390 motherboard. It's not complicated to do that, but Intel thinks that it's worth your money to pay. There's no announced price at this point, but likely will be in the $500 region, going directly up against AMD's Ryzen 9 3900X, which doesn't have quite the core clock, but has 12 cores and 24 threads. So it's a gamble of what you're gonna want. The 9900KS will still likely be the fastest gaming CPU on the market if you need those extra 2 frames per second at the top end. So that's cool. Also, you might need like a thermonuclear cooling system to take care of this, because I mean the TDP on the 9900K is already a lie. I can't imagine what 5 gigahertz on all cores would be. Yeah, get a beefy cooling system, my friends. But while Intel is revealing a whole bunch of interesting stuff going on with the 9900KS and Cascade Lake X, somebody, Mr. DeBauer over on his channel, thinks that some of their slides might be more than dubious regarding how they are comparing themselves to AMD, because Intel has been giving AMD on a pat on the back saying, oh, great job, you brought great value, but we're still better in applications. However, what they're comparing is what they call real-world applications, which is in regard to Maxon's suite of software, which is what Cinebench, Ryzen 3000 Cinebench scores would be. And so they're saying, oh, yeah, you can beat us in Cinebench, but you can't beat us in real-world scenarios, which is totally fine. That makes sense. But they claim that only 0.22% of users are actually going to be using the Maxon suite. However, the source for that data is based on their notebook and 2-in-1 devices. So 0.22% use Maxon suite of software on laptops. Ryzen 3000 is desktops. They're not comparing apples to apples here. In fact, they ate the apple, cracked it out, and planted a lemon tree in the fertilizer, and then said, look at this. This is what we got. You freaking think Ryzen 3000, Only 0.22% of laptop users use Cinebench. Why are you comparing it on Ryzen 3000? Intel is better.
That's the best comparison I've ever heard.
When Intel gives you lemons, you say, hold on. What did you use for the manure? If you want to know more and deep depth analyses like DeBauer does, you can check out his video on it right up there. He has it in English and German. I do not sprechen Sie Deutsch. I'm so sorry. And then let's talk about AMD stuff, because WCCF Tech has put out some indication, obviously take this with a grain of salt, that AMD's next generation of server CPUs, which right now we're on Rome, they're expecting the next one to be Milan, and for it to have up to 15 dies on the actual CPU package, whereas Rome currently has 9. You have 8 for the CPUs and then 1 for the I/O die. Milan's 15 likely will not be all CPU dies and then 1 I/O die. Actually, what the anticipation is, based on the conversation that WCCF Tech has had with industry insiders, is that they're going to be stacking HBM memory onto the CPUs to help with the memory complications that come with using a bunch of CPU chiplets. So it's possible, at least based on this analysis, that they could have 10 dies dedicated to CPUs for up to 80 cores, and then have HBM stacked in there plus a single I/O die, which would create a really crazy CPU process that could actually be really great in a server environment. And if that trickles down onto Threadripper, you might have some really heavy hitting high-end desktop chips, which could be pretty fantastic. So we'll see where this goes. Obviously, this is a very early rumor. Rome just launched. Zen 3 is completed as an architecture, but we haven't heard a lot of information about that. But it does seem like AMD's EPYC CPUs are going to continue to live up to their namesake in the next couple of years. And then let's talk about other expensive things on top of server CPUs, and that's G.Skill has announced an 8x8 gigabyte, so a 64 gigabyte kit of their Trident Z Royal RAM kits that go up to 4300 megahertz at cast latency 19 and will cost you a pretty penny of $1,400. So if you need some really blingin' 64 gigs of RAM running at super fast clock speeds, G.Skill's got you. Okay. And then in the opposite end of like blingin' blangin', we got wingin' wangin'. I don't know what to call this, because Pegleg, which is a company that's dedicated to, at least what I can gather, body modification using computer hardware and that kind of stuff, they have come out with their second implementation of installing a Raspberry Pi into people's bodies.
Yes! No!
And then it runs PirateBox, which is denoted as a DIY anonymous offline file sharing and communication system built with free software and inexpensive off-the-shelf hardware to create a meshable network from your body. You use Qi charging to charge it wherever you've placed it, which, I mean, you probably would do it in your butt. So that way, when you sit down on a chair, you've installed a Qi charger into the chair, and that way your butt gets nice and toasty because of all the current that's passing through. But they're using a Raspberry Pi 0W, so it's not absorbing all of that much energy, but still, I understand certain body modification processes. Don't understand this one. But, you know, biohacker's gonna biohack. And also sorry. And then also in Qi charging news, nothing to do with Qi charging, but you can charge the new Porsche, or Porsche, however you want to pronounce it, that has been announced, the Porsche Taycan, which is going to be their electric vehicle. $150,000 to start, has a similar range to the top-end Model S, has a similar performance spec to the top-end Model S, just happens to cost about $50,000 to $60,000 more than the top-end Model S. But, I mean, it's a Porsche. I don't like it because it looks like the Panamera, and I didn't like the way the Panamera looked, so there you go. If you need the Porsche name behind whatever electric vehicle you're wanting, you can get the 2020 Porsche Taycan. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then, did you upload your phone number to Facebook? Probably did, because they asked for it for account recovery. Anyways, it probably got leaked because Facebook's security just didn't store things correctly, and 400 million personal phone numbers have been hacked in the latest security breach by Facebook and associated with the Facebook IDs, and at least 133 million of those 400 are based in the United States. I mean, at least it's not your password, but if you've been receiving an increase in the amount of robocalls you've been getting, now you know why. And then, have you ever wondered what living a life of eating exclusively junk food would be like? Pringles, snacks, just kind of subsisting off of what you can get at a gas station or a convenience store. Well, there is a British teenager who did just that, but now he has permanent vision loss, hearing loss, and weak bones after years of just eating garbage and putting it into his system. Can't see nothing. He had 2200 vision when he started, and now he's blind. Yikes. Just eat a few less Pringles next time, okay? That's the warning. And then if you wanna just experience the internet for a day, I want you to go search Jeremy Renner App. All right, I'm not even gonna talk about this one, but apparently Hawkeye from Avengers had an app that was a little weird, and then it turned even weirder, and it's a great internet. They closed it down, they refunded everybody, but go search Jeremy Renner App if you're interested. And then on top of other things that Intel has announced this week, they've also announced in partnership with Razer is that Intel's new chip setup will have an adjustable TDP through the Razer Synapse software. So you'll be able to switch between 15 and 25 watts on the TDP, depending on what use case you're using, which is great, but apparently this is exactly the same as switching power profiles. So Intel's trying to get another win on the marketing department. I guess they're picking up of Ryan Shrout from PC Perspective to promote all this is working because they're getting the articles out there. And then let's talk about IFA because that's been going on this week. At that tech conference, Acer unveiled the Predator Power Gem, which is a thermal pad that's supposed to reduce the thermal output of their, not thermal output, but like lower the temperatures so that the boost performance of their CPUs can go up 12%. And then I'm sure you guys have probably seen Linus's video on this. I'm trying to catch up with news. There's been a lot that was released this week. We got a bunch of card news. We have IFA going on. Anyways, ASUS announced 300 hertz laptops, not just monitors, laptops, monitors on the laptops. It's cool, you can check out Linus's video. Then Samsung officially launches the Galaxy Fold in Korea today, and certain people who have hands-on with it say that it actually feels a lot sturdier and like it's not gonna die on you. So the several months that they took to recombobulate the Galaxy Fold appears to be paying off. And then on top of that, Samsung also announced the Exynos 980, which is gonna have a 5G modem, Wi-Fi 6, and then AI built into it. And it's gonna be on their 8nm fabrication, and it's gonna have 2.7 times the performance of their previous neural processing unit, which is basically similar to a Tensor Core on an NVIDIA graphics card. And then more phone news, Pixel 4 in white got pictured. Yesterday in hot news, we showed off the Pixel 4 in black. This actually looks really clean. I don't know if I'll buy one, depends on the price. It looks big and bulky. It doesn't look like Google's really caring about fitting in the design aesthetic of what's going on in 2019, which could be great or it could be bad. We'll find out. Speaking of great or bad, OnePlus TV, the remote has been revealed. It's got USB-C. The OnePlus CEO says that it's been like freaking made sure to be a good remote. I don't know how to take that, and I don't know how to continue this episode of Hot News any longer, so I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button on this video. Check out our website, UFD Deals, if you're trying to save money on the internet for tech products. Just do it. Anyways, bye. Oh, my nose. Oh, my nose. Tissue. Oh.